Mexico City, 2,200 meters above sea level, where the air is thin and the pressure is suffocating. Max Verstappen crosses the line in FP1, fastest, again. Behind him, McLaren's garage erupts, not in celebration, but in chaos. Lando Norris sits fourth, his balance all over the place. Oscar Piastri buried in 12th, his championship lead crumbling with every passing lap. 104 points. That's what Piastri had over Verstappen just 5 races ago in Zandvoort. Now, 40 points. And shrinking. But here's the question no one at McLaren wants to answer. Is their biggest enemy Red Bull or each other? Because while Verstappen is hunting history, McLaren is busy tearing itself apart from the inside. Let's rewind to Singapore. The moment everything changed. Lap 1. Piastri leads, Norris attacks. They touch. Piastri survives, but McLaren's response is nuclear. Zak Brown announces undefined repercussions for Norris. Publicly, in front of the entire F1 media circus. The Papaya rules, McLaren's internal racing code, suddenly becomes a joke, a punchline, a source of pressure that neither driver asked for. Then came Austin, sprint race, first lap. The two McLarens collide again. Piastri gets spun by Hülkenberg, but somehow, McLaren decides this is the perfect moment to wipe Norris's slate clean. Clean slate for both of us, Piastri says, his voice measured, his words careful. But here's what nobody's saying out loud. There's nothing equal about this fight anymore. Because while McLaren plays politics, Max Verstappen is doing what he does best, winning. 3 victories in the last 4 races. 119 points out of a possible 133. Second place when he doesn't win. And the scariest part? The remaining tracks, Mexico, Las Vegas, Brazil, Qatar, Abu Dhabi, they're all Red Bull territory. Verstappen has won in Mexico 5 times in the last 7 attempts. Even when Mercedes dominated the sport, Max still found a way to win here. Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion, already sees what's coming. He warned the McLaren drivers, Max is cutthroat. He's going to take this from them if they don't do the same. Hamilton knows. He lived it in 2021. He watched Verstappen close a 29-point gap in 4 races. He watched pressure destroy leads. He watched championships slip away. And now, he's watching McLaren make every mistake he didn't. On paper, McLaren should be fine. They have the fastest car. They've secured the Constructors' Championship already. 2 elite drivers fighting for glory. But there's a problem that's been hiding in plain sight. After Piastri's victory in Zandvoort, McLaren made a decision. They stopped upgrading the car. They shifted development resources to 2026. Meanwhile, Red Bull, they kept throwing parts at the RB21. New floors, new front wings, constant evolution. And it's working. Piastri admitted it himself. We know they've still been throwing a lot of things at their car. For everyone, he's probably come into the fight quicker than I expected. But the upgrades alone don't explain what's happening. Because Max Verstappen isn't just driving faster, he's driving smarter. Eagle-eyed fans captured something fascinating during the Austin Grand Prix. Onboard footage showing the Red Bull riding lower to the ground than any other car on the grid. How? Because Max has mastered something most drivers only use to save tires or fuel, the lift and coast technique. But he's weaponized it. Here's how it works. Every corner has 3 phases: initial braking, mid-corner, and exit. When you hit the brakes hard at the 100-meter mark, the car dives forward. The nose drops. The floor loses efficiency. To compensate, teams raise the ride height, sacrificing peak downforce for stability. But Max doesn't brake like everyone else. He lifts off the throttle at 200 meters, lets the car scrub speed naturally, then applies the brakes at 100 meters, with far less dive. The result? Red Bull can run the car lower, extract more performance from the floor, maximize downforce without the instability. It's a technique Lewis Hamilton pioneered, but Max has evolved it into something else entirely, a race-pace weapon that's rewriting the championship battle. And McLaren, they're watching it happen in real time, unable to respond. Because their problems aren't just technical, they're psychological. After Friday practice in Mexico, Norris admitted, "Balance is a bit all over the place. We're already a little bit behind." That's not the language of a championship contender, that's doubt creeping in. Piastri was even more blunt about his 12th place finish. "My lap was average." Meanwhile, Verstappen? He topped the timing sheets, then casually mentioned his long run pace was pretty bad. Already thinking 3 steps ahead. Already planning his Sunday strategy. This is the difference. This is why Hamilton's warning matters. "Being the hunter is much easier than being the defender," Hamilton said. "When you're in the lead and someone is chopping away, that plays on you more than if you're chasing with nothing to lose." Piastri is defending, Verstappen is hunting, and history shows us how this story ends. The numbers tell the brutal truth. Verstappen has cut 64 points from Piastri's lead in just 4 races. At this rate, the championship could swing before Brazil. But the damage runs deeper than points. McLaren's internal management has become a public spectacle. The media pressure on both drivers is relentless. The Papaya rules are now a meme. And here's the real consequence. McLaren has no clear number 1 driver. After Austin's sprint crash, they removed Norris's repercussions. After Singapore, they publicly shamed him. The inconsistency is creating an environment where neither driver knows if the team truly has their back. Piastri did the hard work when the McLaren was dominant. He built that 104-point lead. But now, with Red Bull resurgent, McLaren won't commit to backing him. And that hesitation? It's costing them everything. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner called watching Verstappen chase this 5th title like watching history in the making. He's not exaggerating. If Max closes this 40-point gap, it becomes one of F1's greatest comebacks. A title won not just on speed, but on mental strength, technical innovation, and the ability to exploit every crack in the opposition. McLaren has given him plenty of cracks to exploit. The remaining circuits favor Red Bull's aero efficiency. Mexico's thin air exposes draggy cars, like McLaren's. Las Vegas rewards low-drag setups. Brazil is chaos, and Max thrives in chaos. Qatar is high-speed downforce, where the RB21 excels. By the time Abu Dhabi arrives, this championship might already be decided. Scenario 1. Piastri holds his nerve. McLaren finally backs him unequivocally. He manages the points, avoids disasters, and brings home Australia's first world championship since the 1980s, the fairy tale ending. Scenario 2. Norris stages a late surge, stealing points from his teammate in the final races. McLaren fractures completely. Verstappen walks through the chaos and claims his 5th crown. The dynasty continues. Scenario 3. Mexico becomes the turning point. Verstappen wins. Piastri finishes off the podium. The 40-point gap becomes 25, then 15, then 0. And in Abu Dhabi, under the lights, Max Verstappen does what he's done 4 times before, proves that when everything is on the line, no one is more dangerous. Which scenario plays out depends on the next 6 days. So, here's what we don't know yet. Can Piastri block out the noise and drive like he did in the first half of the season? Or will the pressure of defending against the greatest closer in F1 history break him? Will McLaren finally choose a side? Or will their Papaya rules cost them both championships? And Max Verstappen. Is this comeback inevitable? Or is he one mechanical failure away from watching his dynasty crumble? One thing's certain, Mexico isn't just another race weekend. It's the moment where championships are won or lost, where legacies are written, where the hunter closes in on his prey. And if you think you know how this ends, you haven't been watching Max Verstappen closely enough. The altitude in Mexico City makes it hard to breathe. But for McLaren, the pressure might just be suffocating. Tell me in the comments, who takes the title, the hunter or the hunted?